Well, hard-fought game, obviously. Give Yale a bunch of credit for coming in here and really competing. I think ultimately that wasn't our best performance, but it's in, credit goes their way. Our ability to win on third down, both sides of the ball, would be the immediate thing that comes to mind. They converted too many times, and ultimately we didn't convert enough. But throughout, we made enough plays and found a way to win, and turning them over. Obviously, at critical times, the Caden's interception to set up our first score, Cole's interception when they're down there. It was a 4th and long when Caden got his pick. All big plays, and then obviously, Justin fumbling the football made it what it made it at the end, and that's not where we wanted to be. But this time of year, it's about finding a way to get yourself another opportunity, and we did that. And again, a fair amount of credit goes to Yale for coming in here and really competing.
You said it wasn't one of your better games. What do you attribute that to? You guys maybe unfocused or just?
Oh, I don't know. I think sometimes it just plays out that way. For us to open up a lead there, it's probably a few third downs on defense where we don't get off the field. It's maybe more than third downs on offense, but it's being able to extend drives. So we find ourselves, up by a bigger score than 7-0. We have a fake field goal, really well executed, that gets flagged at a critical time. So we can't get flagged there. So it's just our inability to probably capitalize more than we just didn't today, I guess. Ultimately it's 7-0 at halftime, and they moved the ball. I think we felt all right on defense, but just all right's not good enough. I think that's what it was kind of today. So again, it's a little bit, I'm sure, the way we perform, but then also Yale's a good team. There's no denying that they're a good team, and they gave us all we could handle today.
Does this remind you of the Mercyhurst game at all, kind of the way it played out?
I don't think so. And the reason I say that, Mercyhurst was way more about pure them possessing the football. I felt that was different today. We turned them over a few times. We had more opportunities offensively. It wasn't just you look and say, okay, at the end of the day we had X number of possessions. We had plenty of possessions offensively today to do what we needed to do, and we didn't, and that happens sometimes. So, we punted 6 times today. I don't know if we punted 6 times other than Oregon this year. I think that's a pretty telling stat. And there was some short yardage situations where we didn't go for it, in large part because what happened on the previous down. I know we picked up the 4th down, the 4th and 3, later in the game, but I'd say it's one of those games a little bit that just, we had to do what we had to do to win, and that's the bottom line at this point in time.
And on a day when North Dakota State loses, to be able to survive and advance, how much of a learning lesson this will be for you guys?
Well, everybody's good. You're one of 16, so everybody's good. Appreciate that. When you're playing leagues you don't play, and how good are they going to be? I think that's hard to tell sometimes, but that's playoff football. So now we're 1 of 8. I think parents, you have to play well this time of year. You have to keep getting better. I don't think it was for lack of respect to the opportunity or the opponent, but they got some good players, and it wasn't easy. It's not supposed to be this time of year.
Coach, Yale was able to get their yards, but the defense rose to the occasion when they needed to. Just your overall assessment of their performance today.
Well, I think it was. We didn't give up but a few big plays, and that's kind of who we've been. We gave up a couple plays in the passing game that I would like to see not happen, kind of down the middle. I think their running back with enough opportunities was going to probably do what he did, and as long as 15, and that's probably not that glaring of stat that he rushed for 124 yards. But third down wise, we had opportunities to make more plays than we did. They ended up 6 of 13, and there was a time they had an edge on third down, and that in itself is something we really pride ourselves in. So enough to get the job done, and that's the bottom line this time of year. And we played without Neil Daly. I'm certain that hurt us. Neil was ill the last couple days. Xavier Aarons goes down. So we were thinner than we like to be at linebacker, but ultimately, again, we found a way.
And, Coach Cole Taylor, a guy that kind of got thrown into the fire at the beginning of this year, 11 tackles today. Just your thoughts on his growth throughout the season into the postseason.
Yeah, without his growth, our defense wouldn't have had the year it had. And today was another call to arms for him. I'm sure the amount of plays he played today were the most he played all season, and thankful for Cole and how he's continued to answer the bell.
How do you feel like you guys kind of handled their defensive pressure up front? A couple fumbles and the 3 or 4 pass breakups as well.
How we handled their pressure?
Their defensive pressure, yeah.
Oh, I don't think it was phenomenal by any means. We get a ball batted down on a 3rd down. Justin's 2 fumbles. Those are plays that can't happen. And those had nothing to do maybe with their alignment or their pressure. They're just ball security issues. No, I think if we're 4 for 11 on 3rd down, that's probably says we didn't really handle it all that well. And it's not always about 3rd down. Sometimes it's about what's happening on 1st and 2nd down. And our, I think, inability to really find a rhythm today on offense was apparent. It just was. And the wind picked up, and that probably affected. I know for sure the ball that he threw to Ryan down the sideline. I didn't know the wind had just come up. I'm like, do you have any sense for what was going on there with the wind? And so we just didn't. That was not a very good passing day, and that it falls on our shoulders, but it also some credit would have to go to Yale for sure.
And that kind of 2-minute situation at the end of the game is something you guys haven't been in a ton this season. I guess how important do you think that can be kind of moving forward, being in that situation?
Well, we got to find a way to get a 1st down. You're talking after the onside kick.
Yeah.
That was not what we need to have happen. And they deployed all their guys up there, and we need to figure out an answer to be able to move the ball forward. We have to be able to end the game there. And I'm awfully disappointed that we had to ultimately punt there. And thankfully we got the punt off. It created a long field for them, and we were able to close it out. But you know what? What we're chasing as far as our expectations is really hard, and ultimately the expectation of winning we met today. A lot of other things along the line we maybe didn't quite meet, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So we'll take it.
Hunter got the contain on their 2-point reverse play to keep it at an 8-point game, and then right after that you guys get the 4th and 3, and then the touchdown. How just huge was that whole sequence?
Yeah, I don't know the exact logic why they went for 2 at that point in time, but they did kind of the same thing down, I think 22 last week, and they got it. It gave them the point to win the game. So, big that we stopped that, because clearly they had scored for the first time there, and had some momentum. So, it's again our tribute to our guys. We gave up a touchdown, but then we bounced back and can defend the next play. So. I think that's been a marker who we've been all season.
Seemed like Davis and Jones kind of stabilized the offense there for you guys in the second half. What can you say about those 2?
Yeah, I think they ran real hard and were real effective, and I think that's what they've been all year. 30 for 170 is a hard-earned 170. They got it. They both broke out a couple times. I'm sure we would have loved that to be a little earlier, I suppose, with the effectiveness, but ultimately we did get the run game going enough to come up with the drive that got us a 14-0, probably in particular, because that was a long drive, and at least stabilize I think is a good word, because I think we knew we could at least we found something there.